You know how science is supposed to be that one friend who has an answer for everything? The one who can explain why the sky is blue, how Wi-Fi is basically magic, and why bread always lands butter side down. But every so often, the universe throws a curveball so weird, so baffling that science just short circuits. We're talking about the great mysteries science tried to solve, then basically flipped the table and rage quit. Let's get right into it. Number 5, the ultimate brain prank. This is more commonly known as the placebo effect, and it's one of those things that science understands just enough to know that it shouldn't work, yet it absolutely does. Imagine you have a pounding headache. You take a pill your doctor gives you, and voila, the pain vanishes. Later, you find out that pill was just a tic-tac someone drew a little cross on. You've been bamboozled by your own brain. The placebo effect is your body's ability to heal itself based on the belief that it's receiving treatment. It's not just a feeling, it's physiological. People's blood pressure will drop, brain chemistry will alter, and symptoms will genuinely improve, all because they took a harmless sugar pill. Researchers have to fight against this effect constantly. They'll spend millions developing a new drug, only to find it's barely more effective than a fake pill that costs 3 cents to make. That's because the placebo is a surprisingly powerful contender. Scientists have theories, of course. One idea is simple conditioning. Your brain has learned that taking a pill equals feeling better, so it just runs the feel better program automatically, regardless of what's in the pill. Another is expectation. If you firmly expect a result, your brain releases its own natural painkillers, like endorphins, to make it happen. But the how is still incredibly fuzzy. Why can a placebo shrink tumors in one person but do nothing for another? How can the color of a pill change its effectiveness? Yes, that's a real thing. Blue pills tend to work better as sedatives, while red ones are better stimulants. Your subconscious is apparently a very picky interior decorator. Essentially, science is stuck in a loop. To study the effect, they have to trick the brain, but the brain knowing it might be tricked messes with the results. It's the ultimate case of your own mind, gaslighting you into wellness. Number 4, the day the sky exploded. Picture this. It's a quiet morning on June 30th, 1908, in a remote part of Siberia. You're a local herder, minding your own business, when the sky suddenly splits open and a fireball 10 times brighter than the sun descends from the heavens. Seconds later, a shockwave hits you with the force of 1,000 freight trains, throwing you through the air and knocking you unconscious. When you wake up, you see a 40-kilometer high column of smoke on the horizon. This was the Tunguska event. The explosion was catastrophic. It flattened an estimated 80 million trees over an area of 2,150 square kilometers. That's basically the entire land area of Tokyo getting a buzz cut from the gods. The blast was estimated to be about 1,000 times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It registered on seismic stations across Europe, and for several nights afterward, the sky was so bright that people in London could read a newspaper outside at midnight. So what caused it? An asteroid? A comet? That's what everyone thought. Scientists finally mounted an expedition to the site years later, expecting to find a massive, world-changing crater. They found nothing, not a single impact crater. They found all the flattened trees, lying in a radial pattern pointing away from a central point, but the ground zero itself was just more ground. This is where science officially threw its hands up. How do you get an explosion with the power of a small mountain hitting the Earth, but without the mountain? The leading theory now is an air burst, a meteoroid that exploded several kilometers above the ground, disintegrating before it could hit. But no fragments have ever been conclusively found. This lack of evidence created a vacuum that was quickly filled with wilder theories. A mini black hole passing through the Earth, a chunk of antimatter annihilating itself, or, my personal favorite, a weapons test by Nikola Tesla that got a little out of hand. For science, the Tunguska event is like getting a frantic text message from the universe that just says, boom, and then getting ghosted for over a century. Number 3, the universe's missed call. You know that agonizing feeling when you send a super important text, You see the three little dots typing, and then they just vanish. Now imagine that on a cosmic scale, and you have the wow signal. Back in 1977, a team at Ohio State University was using a massive radio telescope nicknamed the Big Ear to scan the heavens for, aliens. For years, all they got was the boring, static hiss of deep space. It was the cosmic equivalent of listening to a dead radio station, hoping to hear your favorite song. Then, on August 15th, an astronomer named Jerry Amon was reviewing the data printouts from the night before. Most of it was just a meaningless jumble of low-level noise, represented by the numbers 1 and 2. But then, in the middle of the page, he saw it. A sequence that read, 6EQUJ5. This wasn't just static. This was a signal so powerful, so crystal clear, that it maxed out the telescope's detection scale. It was a perfectly structured, narrowband signal that lasted for 72 seconds. In his astonishment, Eamon grabbed a red pen and circled the sequence, writing a single word in the margin. Wow. Here's why science collectively lost its mind. Natural cosmic objects, like stars and pulsars, broadcast their energy all over the radio dial, like a messy radio station playing every song at once. This signal was laser-focused on one specific frequency, a huge indicator that it was artificial. Not only that, but it was right next to the hydrogen line frequency, a universal constant that intelligent life would likely use to broadcast their existence, like a cosmic meeting point. It was the perfect, "we are here" message, delivered exactly as we expected to receive it. And then, nothing. We have pointed every telescope we can at that same patch of sky in the constellation Sagittarius. We have listened for decades. The universe has never called back. The signal remains a one-hit wonder, a perfect anomaly that science can neither explain nor ignore. It's the ultimate cosmic cold shoulder. Number 2, nature's floating ghost orb. This one sounds like something out of a medieval fantasy story. Imagine a violent thunderstorm is rattling your windows. Suddenly, a glowing sphere of light, maybe the size of a basketball, just drifts silently into your house. It might come through a wall, float down the chimney, or just materialize in the middle of the room. It hovers for a few seconds, buzzing softly, and then vanishes, sometimes with a pop and a faint smell of sulfur. For centuries, anyone who claimed to see this was told they were crazy, hallucinating, or had probably just seen a weird reflection. Science's official position was basically, nah. This phenomenon is ball lightning, and for a long time, it was the Bigfoot of meteorology. There were thousands of sightings, some dating back to ancient Greece, but no hard evidence. Scientists hate things they can't measure, so they just ignored it. The problem is, people kept seeing it. Pilots reported seeing glowing orbs zip past their cockpits. Weather station operators saw them float through their control rooms. Finally, with the advent of cell phone cameras, we started getting blurry, inconclusive videos. It was enough. Science had to begrudgingly admit that maybe, just maybe, thousands of people across hundreds of years weren't all sharing the same hallucination. The rage quit here comes from the explanation part, because even though they now admit it's real, they have no solid idea what it is. The theories are a total mess. One idea is that a lightning strike vaporizes silica in the soil, creating a floating ball of hot gas. Another suggests it's a knot of plasma held together by its own magnetic fields. My favorite is the microwave maser theory, which proposes that atmospheric microwaves get trapped inside a plasma bubble. Honestly, they could tell me it's a lost soul from the fourth dimension, and it would be just as plausible as anything else they've got. Ball lightning is so rare and unpredictable that we can't study it. It's a scientific ghost that only appears long enough to make a mockery of our laws of physics before vanishing into thin air. And finally, number 1, the world's most annoying noise. Imagine you're trying to sleep and there's a faint, low-idling truck engine outside your window. It's just on the edge of your hearing, a deep, vibrating drone. Annoying, right? Now imagine that sound never, ever goes away. It follows you inside. It's there when you wake up, when you eat, when you try to watch a movie. It is a permanent feature of your life, and worst of all, almost nobody else can hear it. You are not going insane. You are one of the unlucky few who can hear the hum. This is a real, documented phenomenon in specific locations around the world, from Taos, New Mexico, to Bristol, England. In these places, a small percentage of the population reports hearing a persistent, low-frequency hum. They describe it as a diesel engine, a distant buzzing, or a low thrumming that can be felt as much as it is heard. It's known to cause headaches, nausea, sleep disturbances, and extreme psychological distress. It's acoustic torture, and the sufferers are completely alone in their experience. When they ask their friends or family, "Don't you hear that?" they're met with blank stares. This is where science officially gives up and goes home. Researchers have descended on these hum zones with the most sensitive audio equipment known to man. They have measured every possible frequency, scanned for every possible source: industrial fans, high-pressure gas lines, electrical grids, seismic activity, you name it. And they have found absolutely nothing. There is no external sound that corresponds to what the hearers are experiencing. The obvious next guess is tinnitus, a ringing in the ears, but that doesn't fit either. Tinnitus is usually a high-pitched ringing, and it doesn't stop when you travel. Many hearers report that the hum vanishes the moment they drive out of the affected area. It acts like a real sound, in a real place, that only a select few are tuned into. Science is left with an impossible puzzle: a sound that isn't there, causing real physical symptoms in people who aren't crazy. It's a ghost in the machine of human perception, and we don't even know where to start looking for the power switch. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.